guys, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. All right, guys, I'm back, and I just uploaded the Q post from yesterday, and now we're going to get into some Q-related news. Now, I do apologize because I've got this ear infection and so forth, and I'm coughing a lot. And so if I get coughing too much, I'll stop. But I'd like to get through some of this news because it's very interesting and very timely. So let's get over into the news here. And the first thing I want you to watch is this, because I don't even know what to say about this, to tell you the truth. I've never seen anyone, in my life behave this immaturely. And especially for, a member of Congress. This is Steve Cohen. He's a Democrat from Tennessee. He brings out a chicken statue. Now, this happened yesterday because Barr did not show up, and there was good reason why. But apparently, he brings out this chicken statue and places it in front of Attorney General Barr's empty seat, and he has a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken beside him. He sits down. I mean, this man, he's got a bald head with a mullet, and he's sitting there eating this chicken. Now, they began the proceeding at 9 a.m. and so he would have had to have been there very early before Kentucky Fried Chicken was even open. So he must have bought Kentucky Fried Chicken the night before on his way home, put it in the fridge, and then brought it to the session on Thursday. So he's sitting there eating what I can only assume is a cold fried chicken, and he has a chicken statue in front of Attorney General Barr's seat because he wants to convey the message that Attorney General Barr is a chicken, even though he was there answering their questions all day the day before. All right, so let's watch this. This is from CBS News.
Their ability to carry out their constitutional obligations, which they have the power to do under the Constitution, the executive branch has said, no, I'm not going to respond to your subpoenas, I'm not going to respond to your requests, I'm not going to respond to anything, because I don't have to. And that's where we are right now. That's what this is all about. It's not about...
So here he's brought in this chicken statue, and he's put it in front of what would be Attorney General Barr's seat. And there's the bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken there, and he will later sit down and put his little fat greasy hands in the chicken and sit there and eat chicken. How mature is that? I don't even know very many grade school kids that would do that. But he did. Anyway, let's go on.
The Mueller report at this point, Rick.
I think that's true listening to Chairman Nadler. I mean, Chairman Nadler was abundantly clear that today is just one episode of many when it comes to the issue of separation of powers, which is set up by the Constitution of the United States, and that you have equal branches of government, and that really what Chairman Nadler is saying is this isn't really about the questioning by the staff.
So, and it really wasn't the conversation there that I wanted you to hear, but rather this spectacle. And notice how all the reporters are gathered around, and this guy's loving it. What a great opportunity to get some FaceTime and, get his picture all over the place. And of course, it was all splashed all over the news yesterday. So he got attention for this, but it's kind of like negative attention. You know what I mean? Like when somebody's acting up, and sometimes kids, if they're neglected or whatever, they'll try to get negative attention because negative attention is better than no attention. Well, I've never even heard of this person before, Steve Cohen. Never noticed him in Congress, but I guess everybody knows who he is now, right? So I guess negative attention is better than no attention. I really don't think that anyone was too impressed with his little what do you call it? Display. And that's what it was. His acting out. That's what it was. Like a child would do. All right, let's go back now. And I'm going to skip some of the stuff that's less important just because I don't know how long my voice is going to hold out for. But here is something else equally as disgusting. In fact, I think it even goes beyond that. Now, this guy, and hopefully this will have the video attached. If not, I do have the video of this. He looks like he's completely sauced. Completely sauced. I can't even understand what he's saying. He's mumbling his words so much. So either he's just not real bright or he's sauced out of his head. And with those eyes, you can tell he's been doing something. All right. Now he says, this is shock video. Democrat lawmaker calls Don Jr. retarded. Says his mother should have aborted him. Seriously? Now this is the same guy that said he's from Alabama. He's a Democrat from Alabama, and he's the same one that said, well, kill him now or kill him later. Doesn't matter, you know. Kill them now so you won't have to kill them later in the electric chair because they're unloved and they're unwanted, so we kill them now so we don't have to kill them later. That's the same guy. Same guy. All right, Alabama Democratic State Republic Representative, John Rogers said on Thursday, Donald Trump Jr., the president's eldest son, is proof that mothers ought to have the right to have an abortion, and claimed he is evidently retarded or crazy. During an interview with WVTM 13, Rogers responded to Trump Jr., criticized him for making highly egregious abortion comments earlier in the week. And they were egregious. I think we all would, agree with that anyway. So that's an honor that Donald Trump Jr. did that, Rogers said in response to Jr.'s criticism. Thank God, right on. That lets me know I'm right, because I don't know nothing. He's been right on since he's been here. And Rogers added, that proves I'm right to make a scene about abortion. Him being born, that's proof right there. That's proof right there. That's a very good defense I have for abortion right there. Him. Look at him. His mother should have aborted him before he was born. He wouldn't have made that stupid statement, right? Now, let's watch him, okay? Excuse me. Let's just watch and you tell me if you think he's sauced out of his head, because I'm pretty sure he is. Oops. Hang on here.
Condemned your comments. Your response to that, hey, that's an honor. Thank God. Right on. That didn't go right. Because I don't know nothing you've been right on since you've been here. That proved the right to make a scene about abortion. Him being born, that proved the right to make it. That's a very, very good fit I have for abortion right to him. Now look at him there. Why don't you abort him when you were born? But he would have made that stupid statement, right? So his friend made a decision for him. That's what he made for him. So that's the first proof I got. Is that mother had a right to have abortion. They made a decision to have him then. They could have aborted him. But they made a decision to keep him. So he's evidently retarded. Or crazy. Donald Trump started, and I know there's something wrong with that boy. I look at it and tell something wrong with it. Hey, that's a good defense I got for abortion right there. Looking at him.
Now, if I had not read that above, would you have had any idea what he said? Because I wouldn't. In fact, I think that they've interpreted it. I don't think that they've written it word for word, because I wouldn't be able to figure that out. I lived in the South for most of my adult life, and I'm very, very well accustomed to thick Southern accents. But that's more than just a thick Southern accent. That's slurred speech. Very slurred. And with his eyes and everything, to me, he looks either sauced or high on something. You can weigh in on that, but this is unbelievable that this guy sits in Congress. Like, seriously. And he's making decisions for the state of Alabama. Yeah. There you go. So, unbelievable. Earlier this week, while debating a bill that would ban most abortions in the state of Alabama, Rogers said some kids are unwanted, so you kill them now or you kill them later. You bring them in the world unwanted, unloved, you send them to the electric chair. So you kill them now or you kill them later, he continued. He didn't stop there. Some parents can't handle a child with problems, Roger asserted. It could be retarded. It might have no arms and no legs. Trump Jr. took to Twitter and responded to Rogers' remarks, calling them stomach curling. And here is Donald Trump Jr.'s tweet. This is stomach curling and makes Ralph Northam look like a moderate on abortion. Every Democrat running for president needs to be asked where they stand on this. This extreme turn we've seen from Dems on abortion recently is truly sickening. And let me go on here. Sadly, vile comments like this have become par for the course for the Democrat Party. They've become so deranged by President Trump's victory that celebrating late-term abortion, support for eugenics, and even calling for the death of political opponents is becoming their standard operating procedure. I hope every elected Democrat in the country has the common decency and moral courage to disavow these types of grotesque statements from members of their part. And it says, it seems as if Roberts is trying to compete with Virginia Democrat Governor Ralph Northam, who over who can make the most radical comments in relation to abortion. Here's what Northam said regarding abortion and infanticide. This is why decisions such as this should be made by providers, physicians, and mothers and fathers that are involved. When we talk about third trimester abortions, these are done with the consent of the mother, with the consent of physicians, more than one physician, by the way, and it's done in cases where there may be severe deformities. There may be a fetus which is non-viable. So in this particular example, if the mother is in labor, I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered, the infant would be kept comfortable, the infant would be resuscitated if this is what the mother and the family desired, and then a discussion would ensue between the physician and the mother as to whether to do away with the child or not. Democrats are not only pushing for abortion, but some are taking it so far that they are calling the president's son retarded and claiming he should have been aborted. That is honestly the lowest thing you could say to somebody. Really. You should have been aborted. It's awful. And what makes it even worse is this guy does not even look like he's in his right mind. I can't understand him. Like, if he stood up to argue something, in front of everyone in Congress, how would anybody even determine what he was saying or what I don't know. Is it just me? Because I cannot understand this man, what he's saying. His speech is slurred. I don't understand it. All right, I'll leave it there. It makes me very angry. Yeah. Let's leave it there. And let me know your comments below, and I would love to see them. Oh, this is another thing. I wasn't going to touch on this, but I see I already have it open. They have these open air urinals now everywhere in London, and I guess they are now in France as well, I've heard. So the men just walk up to them and whip it out and pee in public in front of everybody. So you can tell that times are really changing in Europe. I mean, big time. Says urinals, open air in Whitehall, London, England. Disgusting. And I would agree it's disgusting. Let me see. It's only a minute and two seconds long, but I'm going to fast forward it.
London, right off of Trafalgar Square, and they have these bloody toilet things for men. It is disgusting. What is going on?
See.
Oh, there you go.
And the men use them.
Oh my God, do it.
They're just right out in public.
That is so. There you go. They're using it, right? In London, it's only about 6 o'clock, and you've got the men using the urinals. There we go. See, relieving themselves. It's so disgusting. I can't believe it. How is this?
I mean, I guess it's preferable to them just, urinating in the street. But I don't know. Is this how far we've come? Where people just don't mind peeing in public? I don't know. What do you guys think about that? I mean, really, I mean, if there has been a problem with them urinating in the streets, then this is probably a good solution, because obviously if they're urinating in the street, they certainly don't mind. I mean, they do have their back to people, so I doubt if they're right in there that anybody could see anything, unless you were like really trying to look. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't really want to be walking along with my kids and them seeing these grown men around all these urinals peeing, but hey, I don't know. Maybe I'm just too much of a prude. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. All right, let's get back to the real news. Not that that's not real news. It is. It's real. But, all right. And this from Educating Liberals. A high school in Northern California is thinking about removing the George Washington murals from its hallways because the paintings are traumatizing the students. Yeah, traumatizing the students. Seriously? If your kids are traumatized by a mural, you have completely failed as a parent. I would say so. Seriously. They're traumatized by George Washington murals. Okay, well, perhaps we should send them for counselors and get some counselors into the school to deal with this very, we don't want these kids to have post-traumatic stress syndrome their whole entire lives and be on disability because they once looked at a mural of George Washington. My gosh, I don't know how they will ever get over the shock of it. I'm so glad that didn't happen to me when I was a kid. I don't know what would have happened to me. All right, let's go on. Now, yeah, I love this. I love it, and I love it. All right. A final kick to the teeth of lying poser, Deng Dick Blumenthal leaves him slack-jawed and drooling as A.G. Barr ends a tour de force testimony beating back bad takes, bad logic, and bad intentions from Dems. Poser, meaning Blumenthal, the guy that says that he is a war hero in Vietnam, but he's never been there. Yeah, that's the same guy. Poser, can we have those notes? Barr, no. Poser, why? Barr, why should you? I love this. This was one of my favorite points in that whole debacle. All right, I love it.
Did you make a memorandum of your conversation? Did you make a memorandum, or did anyone else? Did anyone, either you or anyone on your staff, memorialize your conversation with Robert Mueller? Yes. Who did that? There were notes taken of the call. May we have those notes? No. Why not? Why should you have them?
Did you see old Dick Blumenthal's face? He is. He just... I love it. Can I have them? No. Why? Why should you have them? Love it. Love it. Okay. Now, let's get off the urinals. I've had enough of the urinals. All right. Now, let's come down here and we'll go to Wyatt, as in Wyatt Earp, because I think he got kicked off and then he made a second account called Wyatt. He used to be Wyatt Earp. All right. This is scary AF. I think we all know what that means without me saying it. No other way to describe it. We need to wake up. This is only the beginning. Now, this from Mark Dice. Paul Joseph Watson, Laura Loomer, Milo Yiannopoulos, just unpersoned by Facebook in latest purge, labeled dangerous individuals, banned for life. This censorship is beyond anti-American. It's truly Orwellian. everyone should speak out against this. So it is getting worse. Now, I don't know who this Milo is. I'm not sure, but I certainly know who Paul Joseph Watson is and Laura Loomer. And I would not call either one of them dangerous at all. They are conservative in their viewpoint. Is that what makes them dangerous? Apparently so. And I think that they are getting ready for, because we're into 2019, 2020 is right around the corner, and we're going to be electing a new president, hopefully, same as the old president. That's what they're doing. They're getting rid of these people that have all these followers, and they have a very loud voice into people's lives. They really do. They are a voice, and they don't want to give these people a voice because they know that these people are influencers, and they don't want them to be influenced. They want them to be influenced. They want them to be influenced toward their narrative, not towards the conservative narrative. So, unbelievable. But Trump has spoken out about it, and we'll get to that. All right, now, this is something I found very, very curious indeed. You know, we were talking about Kevin Spacey and about his penchant for children, and look at this. Disgraced Kevin Spacey caught up in murder scandal. Spacey's alleged first accuser has been found dead. Now, how many of you are surprised? Because it seems like accusers or people that are whistleblowers, people that speak out against these people, somehow end up dead. They either commit suicide with the wrong hand, or they shoot themselves 3 times in the head. Always suicide though. They hang themselves on a doorknob with a scarf. I mean, these people are always, this happens. Now, I don't think it's a coincidence, personally. And I think that Kevin Spacey is very well connected to the Hollywood pet elites. Pet elites. That's a new word. I just came up with it. The pedophile elites of Hollywood. The first whistleblower to go public with allegations branding shameless Kevin Spacey a sexual predator is dead, and her grieving family is demanding answers. Now, in a world-exclusive RadarOnline.com can reveal investigations have launched a murder probe into Linda Culkin's mysterious death, while 59-year-old Spacey faces a felony charge of indecent assault and battery for allegedly groping a young man in Nantucket, Massachusetts in 2016. On February 25th, Culkin was walking to her home when she was mowed down by a Toyota as she stepped into a busy intersection. Quincy Police Captain John Dugan told Radar. She later died at Boston Medical Center. No charges were filed against the driver, who remained at the scene. Linda was one of the first to accuse Kevin Spacey of attacking young men, and I find it very odd that you don't hear anything more about her accident or about the person who hit her, said Culkin's cousin, Cindy, 60. It's like it happened and now there is nothing. But Felix Brown, a spokesperson for the medical examiner's office, told Radar the cause and manner of Culkin's death is still under investigation. Culkin, a nursing assistant with mental problems, began cyberstalking and terrorizing Spacey and his team in 2009 after one of her young male patients told her the details of an alleged attack by the American Beauty actor. In 2014, she was sentenced to 51 months behind bars after pleading guilty in federal court to sending harassing emails, making false bomb threats, and mailing an envelope containing white powder to Spacey's associates. But 4 years later, Spacey's career went up in smoke when, after actor Anthony Rapp broke decades of silence to charge that the actor tried to molest him at age 14. Interesting. And I really haven't seen that much about this. So, and why not? Because I would think that that's a pretty big deal if she's been accusing him and she winds up dead. Yes, accidents happen. I understand that. It could be completely innocent. I'm not saying that Kevin Spacey is responsible for her death. I just find it odd. So, there you go. Now, let's go back and see what other news we have here. Now, this I was reading about last night. I found this a little odd. Multiple circuit court judges shot in Indianapolis, Indiana. That, to me, that raised a lot of questions in my mind. Two Clark County, Indiana Circuit Court judges were shot early this morning in a White Castle parking lot in Indianapolis. Judges Jacobs and Adams were reportedly shot in the parking lot after some sort of disturbance that started there. The two had been out drinking, visiting several bars in the area. Both of the judges were taken to the hospital, one in critical but stable condition and the other in serious condition, police said. It is not believed that they were targeted for being judges. But you know, it's weird because it says here multiple court judges shot. Well, two is not multiple. Two is two. 5, that'd be multiple. 4, that's even multiple. 2, But anyway, I do find that a little odd. And I think it's a little odd that they said multiple circuit court judges shot. And really, what are these two guys doing at White Castle early in the morning? I don't know. I guess they were hungry. They wanted a burger. I guess they must be friends if they were out all night drinking. I don't know. But it's odd. I think it's odd. So let's go on. If any of you know anything about that, if you're living in that area and you've heard more about it, let us know in the comments below, because you know we're all curious people and we all want to know. All right, now let's go back. Okay, and here we have Wyatt again responding to George Papadopoulos. That's right, I said George Papadopoulos. All right. And George Papadopoulos had this to say. I have been saying it for close to a year. The only collusion was between the Obama White House, CIA, FBI, with the UK, Australia, Italy, Turkey, Ukraine to undermine the campaign and Trump associates who posed a threat to various interests. The ultimate goal was to overthrow Trump. Now, Wyatt responds to this and says, forget Watergate, forget any scandal you have ever heard about, researched, or read about in your lifetimes. The scale of what is going to emerge in the next weeks and months will be unlike anything you have ever considered possible. It's almost party time, folks. Strap in tight. I would agree. It's just about rock and roll time. It really is. And you can feel it. I don't know. I've just been having this feeling, and maybe I'm not alone in this, but I have this feeling. I know that all this stuff is coming out, but I don't think the deep state is just going to roll over and play dead. I really don't. So I just wonder what's going to happen this month in terms of false flags. I don't know, but I don't have a good feeling. I really, really do not have a good feeling in my gut at all. Now, maybe that's just me, and I hope it is. I hope that you guys say, oh, I think you're being silly, ridiculous. I think everything's going to be fine. Well, I hope that that's true. I really do. But somewhere in my gut, it feels like something's wrong. It feels like I can't explain it. Like the other shoe's about to drop. Now, maybe it's just me. But I just don't think they're going to roll over and play dead. And then we've got the whole thing with Venezuela going on, and that involves China and Russia. We really don't want to get those guys riled up against us. And I don't know. But anyway, let's move on. Now, look at this. I wanted to show you this. Very good reason for us to hold on to our guns. Yeah, this from someone called Down the Middle, and it says, this is always their plan, their meaning deep state, cabal, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. These are the black hats. And here you've got two BBC News articles. One This is June 1st, 2012. It says Venezuela bans private gun ownership. That was in 2012. And then 22nd of June, 2018, just 6 years later, 6 short years later, you know how fast time goes by. Venezuela crisis, UN says security forces killed hundreds. Yeah, well, I don't think that they would have had the opportunity to kill hundreds if those people had been armed, right? You hear it time and time again. They take away the weapons and then, they turn on the people. That's why we have weapons in the first place, to, defend ourselves, to defend our families, and to defend our freedoms. Yeah, so let's not let that become us. I don't see. I mean, they keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing, and every single shooting, they bring out the same old tired narrative that, oh, we got to get the guns out of people's hands. Well, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. They did that in Canada. They took the guns out of, you're allowed to have a gun for hunting and so forth. But the thing is, now in Toronto, all the gangs have moved in and they all have guns. So it's all the bad guys that have the guns. Do you think that, and they have these stupid, ridiculous buyback programs for guns, and not here. Well, they may, I don't know. I don't really keep too up to date with Canadian news because I feel like I'm temporarily here, hopefully. But anyway, they have these buybacks. Well, who's gonna go and turn their guns in? It's gonna be the law-abiding folk. It's not gonna be the criminals. They're not gonna go, oh, you know what? I'm hungry. I think I'll turn my guns in. That's not gonna happen. So yeah, it just doesn't work, and we all know that. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. We all know that it doesn't work. All right. And then you look at the shooter in the synagogue there that stopped people from being killed because he was armed. And there's lots of other stories that happened in that church. I can't remember, it was down south somewhere, but they came in and they started shooting, and the guy was run off by a guy with a gun. This happens a lot, that they save lives. All right, let's click on this. I have forgotten what this is. Oh, yes. Okay, this is the same one we looked at before, so we're gonna skip that. We've heard him, and I don't think we want to have to, endure listening to him again. All right, this from Carrie. There's a lot of things that should make people walk away from the Dem Party. Full-term abortions, giving illegals more right than citizens, supporting 9-year-old drag queens, but having one of their leaders be on TV while name-calling and holding a chicken should be the final straw. I agree. And please get rid of that mullet because it looks ridiculous, especially a full-grown man with a mullet and a chicken. Yeah, pretty ridiculous to me. All right. The Democrats' star hero this week was an old, dirty-looking white man who's completely bald on top and wears a mullet in the back, eating fried chicken on the House floor. Let that sink in. Yeah, I don't think I'll ever eat Kentucky Fried Chicken again because it really, well, I'm not a big fan of Kentucky Fried Chicken. I used to be. It used to be good. Or maybe I just was young and I used to eat crap. But, yeah, I can't say that. Oh, I'll never eat Kentucky Fried Chicken because that makes it sound like I eat it now. I don't. All right. And then I had to include this meme for you guys. Come on now. I knew you'd appreciate this. There's Joe Biden. Yeah. Saying, is that your hair that smells so good? Or is it the chicken? That's what he's saying. He's going, oh, you smell so good. You smell so good. Oh, gee, your hair smells terrific. Oh, maybe that's the chicken. Oops. Yeah. It's probably the chicken. All right. And here from our president. Donald J. Trump. I am continuing to monitor the censorship of American citizens on social media platforms. This is the United States of America, and we have what's known as freedom of speech. Or we did, right? We are monitoring and watching closely. Well, I want, and now I'm not dissing on President Trump because I think that he's doing a wonderful job. He really is. However, I want more than just monitoring. I want more than just monitoring of the situation. It is not acceptable that some of these big names, big conservative names that have a lot of influence are being kicked off of social media for no reason. They're not saying anything outrageous. They're just disagreeing with the acceptable narrative. Well, I guess that's just not allowed anymore. If you don't agree with the narrative, well, too bad for you. Off of social media you go. Now, these are people that have spent years and years and years gathering an audience. And they're kicked off just like that. Unbelievable to me. It really is. All right. Now, there's two more things that I want to get to tonight for sure. And this is one of them. CNN ends Nancy Pelosi's reign of terror, denounces arrogant harassment of Bill Barr. Now, how many of you are surprised at that? Because I am. That CNN is saying, yeah, you know what? Enough's enough. That's something. That is. The Democrats erupted with rage when Bill Barr told them to go pound sand today. They all ran to the nearest TV cameras to vent and try to score political points. The issue was over how they would question Bill Barr, with Barr simply objecting to the format of some questioning. When the left lost the negotiations, they turned to the media to try to frame the narrative, but not this time. The usually complicit CNN rebuked Pelosi and Nadler, the desperate Dems, for an arrogant overreach. From Mediate, CNN, Phil Mudd knocked Democrats today for overreaching following a dispute with AG Bill Barr that resulted in him deciding not to appear before a House committee tomorrow. CNN's Jeffrey Toobin said late this afternoon, this is a real lesson in the powerlessness of House Democrats. Yes. Whatever they do, he argued, won't make a difference, and this just shows that if the Trump White House and the Trump administration want to tell the Democrats who now run the House of Representatives to go pound sand, they're going to have to go pound sand. Minutes later, CNN analyst Phil Mudd said that's exactly what Barr should be doing. Let me be a bit snitty here. If I were Bill Barr, I would tell Jerry Nadler to pound sand. I would tell him to hit the road. Let me give you a couple reasons why. Biggest hearing you might have in your entire chairmanship. You can't bother. You're too lazy to learn the portfolio well enough to ask your own questions, and your members don't have the discipline not to sit here and speak without asking questions. Really? And my second question, who was elected by the American people to oversee the Department of Justice in the most important investigation they have? Was it the members, or was it some lawyer that you want to set up Barr with? This is a setup. I think it's petty. I think it's petty, and I think the Democrats are overreaching. If I were Barr, I'd say, I'm going to get martinis, have a good time, have an empty chair. I'm not going. That's exactly what he did. And you know what? If I were him, that's exactly what I would have done. I can't believe it. And then there's Pelosi saying that he's committed a crime. He's committed perjury. What? What is she on? Really? Tell me. I want some. No, I don't. But she's got to be. Like, what is it with her? And she looked so. I saw a picture of her face by face, like what she looked like when she appeared with Schumer there in front of all those flags, and they looked like they were terrified. How she looks then and how she looks now. Like, what's happened to her? She looks haggardly, and I mean, she looked then like she had just had a facelift. She looked, kind of refreshed, and now I don't know. She looks. Maybe not enough, of that stuff that they get. They get it from the adrenals. Yeah, maybe she hasn't had enough of that. I don't know. Okay, now the next one, a little bit disconcerting. Now, let's get back here. All right. Now, I don't know about you, but I am running across more and more and more news about outbreaks of some sort or another. And measles seems to be all over the news. And I don't understand that, although a friend of mine informed me that the German measles actually are dangerous. But I mean, I had measles when I was a kid. All of the kids I went to school with had measles. My brother had measles. Everybody had measles. The whole darn neighborhood had measles, and it didn't hurt us. I felt fine. I was like, oh great, a day off school, yay. I don't know how long I was home from school, but I do remember because I remember looking in the mirror and going, what is all over my stomach? Because I had measles everywhere, and but it, like, they're not dangerous, are they? Like, what is this? Remember that there was an old Brady Bunch episode where one of them, I don't know if it was Jan or Marsha, got measles, and it was like, no big deal. But now it's like, oh my gosh, we've got to quarantine everybody. Measles. What? It's like, I don't know. When I was a kid, seriously, my parents, had jobs. My mom had a career, and I had a nanny, and we were like going through the woods. We'd get gashes, cuts. I've had broken bones. I've had everything. Now kids sit inside all the time, rubbing their hands with antibacterial lotion. It's like they never get out and get dirty. It was mostly young guys, like young boys in my neighborhood. I only had one older girl to hang around with, so I used to hang around with the boys, and there was a dirt, what do you call that, like a dirt pit, like where they get sand, a sand pit, and we'd go down in the sand pit. I'd come home like top to bottom dirt and mud all over me. My mom never said. She'd be like, go get washed up, but I'd scrape myself. My gosh, on my bicycle, there was a great big hill down by my house where I grew up, and it was a gravel at that time. It wasn't paved yet, and I'd go down there, and I'd always wipe out, but I just was determined I'm gonna get down this hill in one piece. But I'd be coming home with gashes and everything else, and today it's like, I don't know, everybody wants to be so safe. I don't know, they just don't let kids be kids anymore. And I do realize times have changed. You just can't let your kids out and be roaming through the woods and stuff by themselves now. But that's how I grew up, and I'm so glad that I didn't grow up in this day and age, because I don't know, I don't think I could survive it. I'm just too rambunctious for all that. Anyway, let's get back to this plague thing, this measles outbreak. There's Ebola that is out of control right now, the Ebola. You got that guy that was cleaning bathrooms on the border, and he was dead within 24 hours. Like, we don't know what these people are bringing into our country. These are not just Central Americans. They're people coming from Africa, all sorts of places. They're coming because they know that we have a very porous southern border, and they know that chances are that they can get asylum or whatever, or maybe they can sneak across, whatever, but we don't know what diseases they're bringing with them. We're putting ourselves at risk, and it seems that the Democrats don't really seem to care about the safety of American citizens. All right, so as if we didn't have enough to be scared about. We got the Black Plague now. Yeah, the Bubonic Plague. Right. From the Middle Ages? Yeah. Bubonic plague scare puts Mongolia on high alert. Now, we are only one plane ride away from a pandemic, really. You take somebody from one of these areas, they get on a plane, they spread it to everybody else. They, like people get off at an airport, they go get on other planes, right? Then those people are infected, and then, it spreads so quickly, especially in our world today, Because really, somebody can be flying from China, India, Africa, wherever, come into a major airport, get on a different plane. They could have to transfer 2 or 3 times, different planes every time. Well, those people they transfer flights 2 or 3 times. They're going throughout different areas, and with one person on one plane, it can turn into a pandemic. And so, yeah, and we know that their agenda is reduced population. Well, what better way to reduce a population? So stay healthy, seriously, stay healthy. Mongolia is gripped by fears of a pandemic after 2 Russian tourists died of a highly contagious disease suspected by authorities to be the bubonic plague, also known as the Black Death. Well, they can't call it the Black Death when it comes over to the United States because people will say, that's racist. It's racist. Anyway, it is known as the Black Death. Medical personnel donned hazmat suits and boarded a flight landing in Mongolia's capital of, I can't pronounce that, to intercept passengers who came from the affected region. 11 passengers were put under indefinite quarantine at a nearby hospital. Preliminary test results shows that bubonic plague likely caused the deaths of the 2 people, said Mongolian National Emergency Management Agency. The province's office has declared an indefinite quarantine in the Bayan Ulgi province. Authorities believe the tourists, a husband and wife visiting from Siberia, were infected after eating contaminated wild game, and estimate the couple came in contact with some 158 people before they died. They too have been placed in quarantine. But how do they know that they've got every single person that they've come in contact with? Come on. Unbelievable. So, the male tourist, named in reports only as Citizen T, succumbed to extreme illness on April 27th while his pregnant wife passed away 3 days later. The likely source of the disease? Marmots. Marmots are known to carry one of the deadliest forms of the plague, bacterium, thought to spread to humans either by parasitic fleas or by consumption of the animal's meat. Despite the fact that eating marmots is banned, Citizen T hunted marmot, said Dr. N, whatever his last name is, and director of the National Center for Zoonotic Dermatology and Medicine. He ate the meat and gave it to his wife, and they died. Don't be eating marmots. I'm serious. Don't be eating them. We don't need the bubonic plague in America or Canada or anywhere else. Don't eat them. They're these. There's these little guys, I guess. Oh, they're so cute. Why would you want to eat one? Really? It's adorable. Adorable little marmots with their bubonic plague. All right. The couple left 4 children orphaned. That is truly sad. Border closures left some 9 Russian tourists trapped in the country, prompting them to seek help from the Russian consulate. A Russian border official said the closures were related to the May holiday, and the closings will reopen on May 5th. And here's another thing that I'm reading about everywhere is pig Ebola. China's pig Ebola outbreak will move markets, influence geopolitics for years to come. Pig Ebola. Could have a lot to do with them putting human genes in pigs. Yes, that is what they're doing. They're putting human genes in pigs. And you know why? Because then they can use their organs to transplant into humans and the body will not reject them. So I wonder if that could be related. The fact that they have done the same with cows. This is true. Look it up. I know it sounds out there crazy, but it's true. They've done the same thing with cows so that the cow milk now is very, very close to human breast milk. Put human genes in cows. And do we want to eat these cows? I don't. I don't want to eat those pigs either. China's pig Ebola. Pig Ebola and the bubonic plague. Did you ever think this day would come? The Black Death wiped out 1/3 of Europe's population in the Middle Ages, but the disease can now be treated with antibiotics. Every year, 7 Americans on average contact the plague, but due to medical advances, mortality rates have shot down dramatically. Without medicine, however, the disease can kill in under 24 hours. Yeah. And if anything happened like that in the US, how long do you think it would take for us to run out of antibiotics? If every single person needed them? Not long. Anyway, maybe I'm being ridiculous, but we know that that is their plan, to reduce the population, Earth's population. That's their plan. They've stated that. They have to reduce it by what, 80% or something like that? I mean, so what's going to do that aside from war? What could do that? A plague. So I don't know, but hopefully this will be stopped. It's alarming, really. This time, I don't know, we're living in a very strange time right now. Very, very strange time. Because we're seeing, we're seeing the evil being revealed, the swamp being drained, and the more it's drained, the more we see what's really on the bottom, and it's not pretty. So we're seeing that, and we're seeing, all of these signs from the deep state, like the censorship and all that, diseases, all these things, the influx of immigration, that's all being brought about by Soros and people like that are funding it. And it's just a very strange time to be alive. Exciting time, but also strange. So anyway, that is it. I do have lots more, but I don't want to, belabor this too long. And I think I've done well at stopping coughing for this long. So anyway, so there you go. That is it for tonight. I'm going to leave you on that really, really, uplifting story about the bubonic plague. I remember, okay, I can chat now because this is essentially over. I remember helping my mother. We had a cold storage in our basement, and as many houses did. And she had, because my grandparents, when they died, they had all of this. We didn't even know. It was like enough probably to live for 4 years because they had come through the Depression. So Mom brought a lot of that food, and we kind of went through it. But some of this stuff, like, it had been sitting there for so long, it literally ate through the cans. Like, I didn't even know that could happen. And we picked it up, and there was all this sticky stuff underneath, and Mom goes, "What is that?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, it's the bubonic plague." I don't know why, but that just came in, and my mom started laughing hysterically. But you had to be there. You really did. You had to be there. Yes, I did not know that if you leaved canned goods for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, whatever's in that can eats through, I guess, because we had this goo all over our steel shelves from these cans. But I was convinced it was the bubonic plague, but apparently it wasn't, because I'm still living. So that's it for tonight. I will hopefully be back tomorrow, and I'll bring you some more Q-related news and hopefully some Q posts. So there you go. I am also working on some other very interesting things, but it's taking a lot of research and a lot of time. So I'm going to be bringing that at some point in the future, especially now that I've got the ability to do that. Like, my computer is sufficient that I can do that now. So that's wonderful. I will talk to you guys later. I hope you have a good night. Sleep well, stay safe, and, don't eat the marmots. Don't. Or pigs from China. Yeah, that either. Okay. Good night. Seek truth. Deception bites.